Hey guys, I want to let you know that support for this podcast was also brought to you by Manscaped. The lovely people over at manscaped.com wanted me to let you know that the Lawnmower 3.0 is out. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide with their ball trim and health, and there's a reason. They're innovative. The reason they got the Lawnmower 3.0 is because they spent 18 months perfecting this ball trimmer. All right, so if you want to trust a ball trimmer, the Lawnmower 3.0 is the way to go. And there's a flashlight on it in case you're on the run and you got to shave. You're perhaps a predator or an athlete. Perhaps you like to drive and, shave. Who knows? But it's superior technology. The battery lasts about 90 minutes. That is an hour and a half. Now, look, I'm going to be honest. If you're trimming your balls for an hour and a half, you got other problems. Perhaps consult a physician. But maybe you just haven't had time to charge it. So it could be on multiple occasions where you're trimming. I'm just letting you know that this battery lasts really, really long. And to do you a solid, if you head over to manscaped.com and use the promo code Pantelis, they're giving you 20% off and free shipping. 20% off, free shipping, promo code Pantelis. Is there ever a better reason than 20% off to order ball trimmers? No, there isn't. Manscaped.com, promo code Pantelis, 20% off. Do it now.
I take you for a ride on the devil's ship. I'll take you for a ride where you sink or swim. Now come with me and let this story begin.
Was, welcome back.
Pantelis, thank you for having me.
It's been a minute.
It has.
You know, this podcast would have come out an hour earlier had you been here on time.
Well, I'm just a busy guy.
It's not live anyway, so no one's going to know.
Yeah, I know. I was going to go ahead and blame my ethnicity right away, but I don't want to stoop to that low-hanging fruit. You know what I mean? I'm going to blame my personal shortcomings.
Do the Lebanese operate in that late fashion?
No, definitely.
Yeah, the Greeks too.
I feel like that's a thing, though, that like every ethnicity claims,
You think? I think everyone except for North Americans and Germans are late. That's what I think it is.
That's what it seems. That's how the British conquered the world,
Everyone else showed up late to the battles.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, we're playing cards, we're playing backgammon, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the Brits show up to an island, they're like, we won. Who did you fight? Nobody, they haven't showed up yet.
Yeah, they're not here.
And they're all just smoking.
Yeah.
Fuck, I have to do this now.
Shit. All right. Just fucking take it. All
Yeah.
right, Reginald.
Yeah, I don't have time
put
for
your
this.
stupid flag up.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. That's the beauty about podcasting. That's the amazing thing about this. We lost nothing.
No, that's good. I'm glad.
So how you been?
I've been good, man. I've been good. It's almost weird to talk to people face to face. Like just see my girlfriend. That's it. You know what I mean? And my work now, I'm just doing some landscaping. So I'm just facing dirt all day. I don't see people.
Do they make you wear a mask while you're doing that shit?
No.
That would be crazy.
No, that'll be wild. I'm outside in the middle of a garden. You know what I mean?
Is it just you alone?
No, I work with a couple other people. Small little team. It's kind of cool. You just keep to yourself and
you're working out.
Yeah, trying to get fit, but it's like it's good work. Don't get me wrong, but after having done comedy almost exclusively for 2 years, there's times where like my face is in the dirt, I'm covered in worms, and I'm like, I used to open for Sugar Sammy once,
I turned into the punchline.
Yeah, no.
It's gonna end soon. Don't worry. I heard that New York today they announced July 1st. Everything's open, back to business, no restrictions. July 1st.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, with capacities and masks and whatnot.
They said no restrictions.
No restrictions. Okay.
But they've handled the rollout of vaccines way better than we have. So they got like the states is getting who they need to get vaccinated.
Right.
Here they could give it to you for free, and people are like, I don't fucking think so.
Yeah. No, it's chaotic. I'm not even sure what's going on.
Here they don't know. I think they said the AstraZeneca one. Now they'll give it to anyone if they ask for it, but no one's asking for it. They're like, I'm not getting a discount brand.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You hear about the couple blood clots that have happened. I heard through the grapevine, like a friend of a friend's mom is like in critical condition with a brain blood clot after it.
But, and I'm not saying you should get it because I'm not going to tell you to do that, but that only happens so far really to women and a specific... Yeah, I'm just saying there was no men, but there's specific reasons behind it. So avoid it. If you're a woman, avoid the AstraZeneca one.
Right.
Like even if it's 0.001%, you have options. Wait.
If you got options, I guess it's a tough one, man. Because it's so rare that there's complications.
Yeah.
But for me personally, I'm so pessimistic that I'm like, it's gonna be me.
That's it.
And I'm worried that if I get the AstraZeneca, I'll psychosomatically start to be like, what was that? I like sweat too much. It's hot. I'm like, oh, that's a blood clot for sure. You know, like I'm
That's
gonna
the
like
kind of shit I do.
will myself to have a blood clot.
Yeah, you just gotta have an aneurysm.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's get healthy first. Like you already did your get healthy part. You lost weight, you got fit. So I think that's the first. From what I've been reading, that's the first thing you should be doing.
Sure, I think everybody should do it regardless of whatever pandemic. Yeah, but it seems like if you are overweight, if you're pre-diabetic or whatever, it seems like if you do contract it, like the chances that it's serious and you end up in critical condition is way higher.
Way higher. That's what I'm saying. So first step, get healthy.
Yeah, for sure. It's partly what scared me into losing a bunch of weight and stuff. It's not like I wanted to be fat before, but it was definitely an extra thing. I was an obese chain smoker, and I'm like, once this hit, I was like, okay, all right, come on.
But you weren't obese. I don't remember you being that big.
Charts, you know what I mean?
Okay, the charts. Fuck these charts. You know what my chart was? Then why I started
still obese, by the way, according to the BMI.
I'm probably super morbidly obese according to these fucking things.
It's wild.
But I had just seen photos of myself online that like fans were posting, and I was like, that is a disgusting human being. Stop feeding him.
Yeah.
And then I tried to, cut off, whatever I could, bread, sugars, just slowly start working out because I was just disgusted by myself. That's what it took. And then I got scared because of also when I heard COVID affects fat people more.
Right.
And I was like, oh God, I got to get out of that demographic.
Yeah. To be honest, it's more the former for me. It was more like the self-disgust. It wasn't the COVID. What really helped wasn't more so that I was like, oh, I'm gonna get sick, because we all think we're invincible when we're young. It's more that I had the time. That you always make excuses. My excuse was I can't eat well because if I do a show out of town, I want to have a beer, I want to go late night food, I want to have a cigarette and chat with comics. You make excuses for yourself. Your hookers, everything. But once that hits, nothing's happening. So it's like, I'm sitting at home. Why am I drinking? Why am I eating 7,000 calories for dinner? You know what I mean?
That's when I lost the most weight, by the way.
Yeah.
When everything was closed and all I was doing was podcasting through Skype from my house, remember? And that period, those months, I was jogging all the time. I was running out. It's when they put the fucking curfew in and they closed the gyms that I started gaining a bit more weight, because then I got stuck. My days got restricted. I don't do the same amount of working out at home with, just push-up, sit-ups as I would if I'm in the gym or if I'm outside running. So it completely sabotaged, but I gained a bit and now I started losing again.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to balance it out.
Yeah, it's winter. It's inevitable. Plus winter, plus curfew, plus, lockdown. It's inevitable. And gyms closed. That's what happened to me. I lost all that weight last year. Summer was great. I was active biking, you know what I mean? Then I started going to the gym, and then the gym's closed almost immediately. And then same thing, I did work out at home, but it isn't the same. I do, as much as people rip on the gym bro, chest bro kind of culture, it's kind of nice being in an atmosphere where everybody's kind of like, you got high ceilings, the air circulation's good,
everything's there.
Yeah, everything you need is there. Everyone's kind of like doing the same thing. You're not going to take a 10-minute rest between a set. Like now I bought a barbell at home, but it's like, I'm cooking, I'm making a lasagna, I go do a set, I forget, I got to do something else. Like you're not going to have the same, I'm not in my mirror at home, like, let's do this. You know what I mean? It's not
You're
the
not
same
face
vibe.
pushing people. You ever face push people?
Oh, not yet.
I like face pushing people.
Yeah.
I don't do it at the gym
Yeah.
because they don't let me back in there.
All right.
But when they used to.
Oh yeah? Just
Out of my way.
The girl at the front desk. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, c'est une Tim Hortons, arrête. It's fucking good times. So now you know that we must be close to some form of a comeback.
It
You
seems
planning for that?
inevitable. It seems
You writing shit? What are you doing?
Sure. I'm on paper, metaphorically and literally. I have a routine that I try to do, which is just to write a minimum of 10 minutes a day. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Whatever it is.
A very Sugar Sammy-esque.
Yeah.
He does more than 10 minutes, but I mean, he has a routine that he's diligent about.
Yeah, I think he was saying he does like an hour or something at least. Quote me on that. But like for me, I find an hour, I'm gonna fade off. Especially at the computer, I'll be like, oh, how do you make cornbread? Yeah, or stupid things just come up.
I do the same.
And the internet's there, So I put a 10-minute timer, and when it's 10 minutes, it's easy to be like, if I get distracted, I go, you have 6 minutes left. Just fucking type, you idiot. All right?
Yeah.
It's easy to do that, and then the timer goes off. And if I'm inspired, sometimes I'll keep going for a bit. oftentimes I'm like, thank God. All right, that was a nightmare.
Oh, sometimes you don't feel it.
Most days I don't feel it, but I just kind of, what else I have to kind of force myself, because I've had those panic moments where it's like, fuck, it's been a year, man. Like, I could have theoretically written an hour of, obviously you don't know if it's good.
Yeah, it's going to be shit.
Right, but at least have something. I don't know, I got 10 minutes maybe.
I panicked last week because I went to do a show in French.
Yeah.
And it was my third set in the last 2 weeks. But the first two sets were the first one was shit. The second one I was getting my bearings again, all in French. I haven't done English.
These are live shows.
These are live shows.
Okay,
with the real people.
Because I only learned that recently. Sammy was telling me that there's like theater shows happening in French.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. The French are always first.
Right.
So English stuff hasn't opened up yet. So I said I'll do it in French. So the first one was weird.
Okay.
Boom, I didn't like, and it was all people from France who for some reason thought that my accent was a gimmick. Which was a barrier I was unable to break.
Sure.
The second set, it was all Quebecers, so it was funner, but I still wasn't at my full capacity. And then last week I did a show, and it was so weird because I thought about it. I go, wait, what do you want me to do here? He's like, oh, you'll close the show, do 10, 15, whatever the fuck feel comfortable. I was like, 10, what the fuck am I going to talk about? Like, what am I, even my jokes that I was doing last year at this time, am I comfortable saying them? Do I remember, like, the inflections, this and that? Can I go hard? Because, sometimes I do some race shit or something crazy to fuck the crowd. I could build them back. But that's a skill that I was able to learn through the years and master. I haven't done it in so many months. Can I, if I say something crazy, am I just,
Yeah.
So then I tried it, and I said something that was a little crazy for them. And I did lose them for, like, people were like, what the fuck? They gasped. And then I had to try to reel them back in. And it was super difficult. I was like, what am I going to talk about? Like, it's all this stuff, even the stuff I barely remember. If you forget one sentence, one good tag, you ruin the joke. And that's what I went through. And it did happen with a couple. Overall, it was a good set. Yeah. But it was, like, if you know me, or if a comic watches me, the comedian knows. The comic's like, oh, he's not happy. He didn't do what he wanted to do. Because it's so weird. It's the rust shaking out. But we need to do that. It's not a good
feeling. You have to. It's going to take a little bit. It's going to take it's like working out, right?
Yeah.
You got to shake the dust off a little bit. But these are theaters?
Twice it was at theater and Theater St. Catherine. Okay. And the last time was at I want to know the name. It's the African, I forgot what it was, but they have, I think it's a community center, but they also have, they sell African paintings and stuff, because I saw backstage. There was a fucking nice one, but I think somebody had already bought it, because I was thinking of getting it.
New background.
Yeah, I was thinking of putting it in the studio, but I saw there was a note on it with a woman's name. Okay. I guess she had bought it and it was waiting for her to pick it up, but it was a nice fucking painting. And as soon as I saw it, that's what I thought about, for the studio. Right. And I saw the lady's name, so I never asked. But yeah, it was a community center. It was nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I only heard about that recently. It shocked me. I was like, I thought everybody was out of practice, and I'm like, these guys have been doing reps this whole time.
Yeah, some of the guys have been doing reps for a while because they were going out
to
different places in Quebec. And French, dude, it's complete. I wish, actually, in a way, no, because it would have been too time consuming. But it would have been nice to be going out to different towns and cities just to keep that blade sharp.
Sure.
But I'm feeling it. Like, now, once real clubs open up again, the French ones, and I could do my stuff again, it's not going to take me too long. Like, if I could get in front of a lot of people, if you give me 10 shows, I think I'll have at least the 45 in French ready again. Like, I'll be comfortable saying it again.
Right. And is most of that translated stuff from, like, English material, or a bit of both? Okay.
Of course. There's some that only work in French that I created just for French, but most of it is. Yeah, because that was the other thing, people were impressed. Like, he just started French, he's so good. And I was like, it's not that impressive, because I know these jokes work already, because I wrote them in English.
Right.
It's not the same as me being a clairvoyant of comedy, where I just, anything I write is funny. These are tried and tested stuff for like 2 years now. So it's not, that's why I thought calm down with the praise, and then
just lie, dude. Be like, I just wrote this yesterday.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. It's too weird. Then they're gonna think I'm like some kind of genius or something. But it's just because as soon as I get comfortable translating them, and I see they could work in French, then I could use them. But no, I don't have. There's some jokes that just came on the spot in French, and I keep them. Okay, but these are like little tags and short jokes. But the majority is stuff that I'm already comfortable in English. That's why it works. It's not that I'm a special comedy writer in French that everything just comes to me. It's like your good stuff, the stuff that you're comfortable with. If you translate that in French, it's going to be amazing. If you tell them this is my first time in French, but the jokes that you're doing are tried and tested jokes, their brain's going to be like, fuck, it's his first time, but it's very good. That's what happened to me. They were all like, fuck, these are good jokes. But I didn't make them up on the spot. I wrote them already.
Yeah.
And I tried them in English. I know what works, what doesn't. That's why.
I think people don't realize how much it takes. You know what I mean? Like, you don't just sit and be like, set up, punch, boom, ready to go. It's just like, sometimes it's years. Like, I have jokes I've been doing for 4 years that I'm like, it's still not where I want it to be. Or it evolves on its own in a weird way. Like, it started as one premise and one punchline, and then later on, it's kind of the same topic, but it has nothing to do with the original idea.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's like an organic entity.
Evolution.
Yeah, it evolves and like changes, and then like sometimes it rots. You know.
Sometimes it doesn't work. You know what's crazy is now that we're coming back, we're going to see a lot of our jokes don't work anymore.
Yeah.
And they could not work for many reasons. Sometimes it could be you're not comfortable with it anymore. It's not you. Because I was in a different headspace when I wrote X joke.
Yeah.
And it worked because I was in that headspace. Now it feels like I'm telling someone else's jokes. It's not my reality anymore. So that happens to me a lot. And especially because I was thinking what jokes I should say last week. And I was like, fuck, this was a good joke, but I don't feel comfortable. Like, it just doesn't, I feel so distant from it. I don't know if I could do it justice anymore. Yeah. I'm going to hold off on this. Let me do the stuff that I know is going to work.
I'm terrified of that. I'm terrified.
It's going to happen.
You spend years having, you know, whatever amount of material you have, let's say, that you feel like is has a high batting average or is good at, nothing's foolproof, but you have jokes that you're like, the majority of time this works to various demographics. And I'm scared that, like, you know, 20, 30 minutes of that is just useless. And some of it is because I'll watch it now. Like, I'll watch a set that I've done in the past, and I'll be like, objectively it's going well, but I'm like, I hate that. I hate him. That fat piece of shit sucks. These jokes. It's obviously because I've heard the joke so many times.
1,000 times, yeah.
But I'm like, oh, this hack garbage. And I'm like berating the audience. I'm like, you guys are idiots for laughing at this. But I don't know. You can't throw everything away either, you know?
No, that's why I even forgot stuff.
Yeah.
Someone, Guido Grasso reminded me the other day while we were making his podcast of a joke that I had forgotten about. He's like, I can't believe you forgot it. You don't say. I go, dude, if I remembered, I would have said that on the French. I would have translated it to French. I had forgot about my random shooting joke. Remember that one?
Yes.
I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, that's great. I like that a lot. Especially because I know who it's about now, actually.
And the best, were you with me at the Peroni's one night? I hadn't said it in a long time. And someone again reminded me, like, can you say that joke again? Like, just if you're going to, I go, you know what? I could do it. And I said it. And then after, we're laughing about it backstage, whatever that backstage area was. And two guys come and they're like, hey, I have a question. Is that joke that you said about, and they said the guy's name, and I go, yeah, how the fuck do you guys do? And they started laughing. They go, we fucking know. The second you were saying the story, like, that sounds just like him. That sounds like that situation. And I was like, yeah, that's the right guy. They're like, oh my God, I thought you guys make all this stuff up. Right. I go, there's a lot that we make up for comedic effect. Yeah. But most of it comes, like the situations we complain about, 99% of them usually are situations that we're in, for sure, and we actually bitch about or are real. He's like, I can't believe it. He goes, it sounds so fantastical, but I know the story. He goes, I know that this happened. Right. So I was like, yeah.
That's so funny. I'll be honest, the first time I heard the bit, I'm like, I think that could be made up. And then years later, I met the guy. Yeah. And I was like, for sure, that's real. The guy, I could see someone wanting to shoot him. I kind of want to shoot him.
The name, the best was just knowing his name. I remember when he's like, yeah, they asked for my name. And I'm like, there's nothing random about, like, what has happened? It was such a, and it's funny because when it first happened, I couldn't think about saying it on stage. The first time it happened, I was like, who do I tell? This has to be a long form thing. I used to have trouble, even though I've evolved into, most of my jokes are stories, long stories. When I first started, if it would take over a minute and a half, I would get nervous. I wasn't comfortable enough with myself to do a long joke that will have a good payoff at the end. I was uncomfortable. If there was too much silence, even though they're listening, I took it as failure. Yeah, it was more like laughs per minute. I thought was the important thing, not if the payoff's worth it. If I'm taking them somewhere, so I wasn't able to do it. It was later I started to evolve and be comfortable with myself and be like, you know what? I'm comfortable enough to take you on a 2-minute journey that you might not laugh for a minute because you're listening, but it'll pay off in the end. Yeah, it took me a while to get there. I was so nervous.
I feel you. I'm still nervous. Even when I know it's a long setup, I'll sweat sometimes because I'm like, oh no, am I losing them? Oh God.
Yeah, you fear.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the best is when you ask someone later, like, oh, and they're like, no, we were all waiting. Yeah. And you're like, why can't I understand what you understand? Why do I panic when you're eager?
Oh, for sure. Because it is at the beginning. I mean, a comedy is kind of about laughs per minute on a purely technical sense. But over the course of like a 20, 30, 40-minute set, you can afford a 60-second sometimes
build up,
if the payoff is good. You know what I mean? I was listening, I think it was David Acker was talking about like those two types of comedians, the more long form and the more like, you know, someone like a Heidi Foss who's like boom, boom, set up punch and it's clever and it's quick and there's a lot of punchlines where it's like you got to ring this bell. Maybe he was saying like either you're ringing it like a little bit where it's just like ding, ding, but you're doing it constantly, or you're kind of building it up and then you like, bang, you have like so like the payoff kind of has to be worth it. You know what I mean? So if you're like very quick fire, you can afford like, oh, that was cute. Oh, that was cute.
Because you have a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was funny. Oh, that was clever. But I think if you're building up, it's got to a little bit, you got to like sweep the rug a little bit more and surprise people a little bit.
Well, I have seen, and you see it on open mics first time if someone's doing a joke and they're talking about something that's really personal in their world, not so much personal story like you're finding out about them, more personal, like it only works in the context of me knowing who your friends are. So it's already going to be hard to translate it to us. And then it's a super long setup.
Yeah.
And then the punchline is like, right? Because that's how Steve is. And it was like, we don't know Steve.
Yeah.
And then when I see shit like that,
fuck Steve.
Yeah, and also fuck Steve. But when I see that dude inside, it kills me. I feel so bad because like I understand why you're saying it, because in your head you're like, that was such a great moment, but you can't translate context.
Yeah.
People don't know who Steve is. They don't have the history. So without you telling us, explaining us who he is and why he's dumb or why that question was stupid or anything like that, we don't get it. So you're like, right, classic Steve. Yeah, we don't know who the fuck that is. So it could be classic Steve in a good way. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And I see that happen a lot. It's there's a lot of information that we have to give the audience that it just happens naturally. Even me in the beginning, a lot of my jokes they got better when I would add just a little sprinkle of, this is what Milton's like. Here's 10 seconds. This is an example.
Sure.
Now they're like, oh, that's why that's funny.
Yeah.
Without it, they're like, yeah, I don't fucking care, bro. That tells me nothing.
Yeah.
So you learn all that as you go, but this is the fun part of it. This is us learning all the time, I think, now it's, it's the struggle of, oh my God, am I good? Am I not? And but in the future, man, when we look back, we're like, that was the funnest fucking part.
Yeah.
We got to build.
Absolutely. It's cliche, but it's like, it's the journey, man.
It really is, though.
Destination.
I don't call it a journey because it's fucking weird and hack and hippie shit.
Sure.
But just but you're right, it is a journey. I think I love
process.
That. The process.
Respect the process.
It sounds so cliche, and I guess you only realize when you're in it. The process is the fucking funnest part.
It is everything, actually.
Yeah.
There is nothing else, speaking of hippie cliches. But that's it. It's like, that's what you realize. It's like, you ever do acid and like hike through the woods, like,
I'm scared to do acid. I'm scared to do any of that shit, yeah. I'm scared I'll permanently stay crazy.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe this is all a hallucination of mine. I don't even know. Maybe
no, you're fine. This is real. Do you do acid?
Allegedly.
Are you not scared?
Allegedly. A couple times. Yeah, I'm scared. I'm terrified. That's kind of what intrigues me.
But are you terrified of not what you're going to experience on a bad trip, but are you terrified of long-lasting effects? That's what I'm terrified of.
As of now, yeah. I didn't think about it until you said it.
Okay.
No, just kidding. I mean, sure, because I've heard that could be, but it seems like it's exaggerated and not very rare. When you're like a kid, when it was like the Nancy Reagan Just Say No in the 90s, we grew up, there was always like a cop who came to your school and was like, if you do acid, your brain bleeds, and in 20 years, you're going to see colors every day.
Yeah, shit like that. Yeah, so it scares me.
It's not real, though.
No?
Nah.
It feels like it feels reasonable.
I mean, look at the 70s. Everyone did acid. I don't know. People
but then you have the Manson family.
Yeah. That's one family. I'm like, have a couple of Mansons if you want to see some cool shit in the woods. That's all I'm saying, You get
but wouldn't shrooms be the same effect with less dangerous outcomes? Or it's a different effect completely?
And, I think they're similar, but like there's crossover, but they are pretty distinct.
Okay.
Same but different, bro, as you would say. Yeah, their acid's like way longer. That's what's kind of scary. Is sometimes
how long we're talking about? Because
honestly, I've only done it like a couple times, and it's like it's almost like 16 hours. I feel.
Okay, yeah, that's very long.
That's wild. Where like like at the end, you're like, "Can I go to bed?" And your brain's like, "But look at that!" And you're like, "Okay, it's cool, but I want to sleep."
I only did mushrooms once, and it was the fall of, I want to say 2013 or 2014, and it lasted from about midnight till about 7 a.m. And that entire time, me and my buddy Homer, we were walking through TMR, and we couldn't see a soul. Like after a while, we could. Well, first it was in Park X we started, but I started to trip out because I was like, "Does everybody know that I'm high?" And it was just like a weird feeling. So then we walked around TMR, and we didn't see people for like 4 or 5 hours. So we thought that this wasn't real, we were from the future, and this was a memory because everything's like, how can all these houses with the lights on have nobody in them? It was the weirdest. But
it was in the middle of the night, wasn't it?
It was the middle of the night.
Okay, yeah.
But there was lights on.
Sure.
You're walking around, there's lights on. There's no cars that pass by during that time. It was just luck.
Yeah.
But for us, there was no luck. For us, we're from the future, and this is just a memory. It was the weirdest, but it was positive. Like there was no negativity in it. It was just so bizarre walking around. I remember there was for sale signs where we put one in another house. We're like, see, it doesn't make a difference. It's all fake anyway. So someone for sure got the call for the wrong house that they wanted to buy because we changed that. It's a good thing we didn't break into someone because one of the ideas was, should we break into that house to see that it's empty? So it's a good thing we didn't do that because that's hard to explain to the cops, like, I thought I was from the future. It would have been crazy.
There was no other way, officer.
Yeah, there was no other way.
You can see that I had to break into this home to prove.
Yeah, it was one and done. It was right before my birthday. I think my buddy Homer was like, "You have to do it at least once. You have to see." And I was always scared. I was like, "I don't want to have brain damage." He's like, "Nah, bro, there's no brain damage. Just."
Yeah, I think that's. I don't think that's real. We have enough data now. Like people have been doing it for so long. I think if you abuse it, that's something you really don't want to abuse. Any drug.
But that'll fuck you up.
That's wild. Like
that's not recreational. That's like a once in a couple of.
I think it needs to be respected in a way. I'm clearly a hippie. It's got to be ritualistic, dude.
No, I'm with you. I don't know about the ritual part. I'm not a ritual guy. I hate rituals.
I like candles. It's wild. I get butt naked, put cream on my face.
I say I hate rituals, but I realized I just hate culty rituals. Because everything we do is a ritual. Having the coffee here is a ritual. The way we start is a ritual. The way we end the show is a ritual. So I guess I do like rituals in the form of habit. But I don't like, we can't do this unless. Like, we can't do shrooms unless we burn these candles. Or like, I don't like that kind of shit.
You got to burn some sage, get rid of the ghosts.
Yeah, I'm not for that stuff.
I mean, I think what I mean is just like, it's got to be respected in a way, I think, because it's so intense. It's an intense experience. Thankfully, I kind of got that idea when I was younger. I got that vibe, like this is something not to be toyed with. Because when I was in high school, there was a bunch of people doing. I never touched anything like that until I was like an adult, And I'm thankful for that because there was kids in high school like doing mushrooms at lunch and like freaking out and coming.
Where was this?
Math class.
It's like a white person school.
The West Island.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, we didn't have shrooms in my school.
We had everything. I don't know.
No, I didn't get exposed to it until like adulthood, and like I said, my buddy he knew because he had done it once in a while. Yeah. My high school, I think everybody just had weed. I don't even remember anything past that.
We had plenty of that. Yeah,
weed.
But it was like the very white skatery kids who like. They would get drunk at school. They would fucking do shrooms and weird, like...
You know why I said white, for the record? Because the first time I ever actually heard about shrooms was 2004 in Alberta. I was with my cousins. They all live there. Yeah. And they're very white because it's Alberta. They don't have the same ethnic communities we have here. And I remember, I think it was my cousin Angelo who was telling me about shrooms or something, like his friends. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And then when they were trying to explain to me that high, I was like... That is insane. That is silly. What a dangerous thing to do. I was 18 years old. I was like, this is crazy.
What is this, malarkey?
Yeah. Thinking, but it was because in the suburbs over there, they had nothing to do. So they found those kind of drugs. Whereas us here in the city, there's always something to do. So they would take stuff like weed, like something to chill them out, and then go play soccer, watch a movie. There's always something to do here. There's always action. There's a festival. In the suburbs, you got nothing to do. So that's why I suspected it was a white person school, was close to suburbia where they had nothing to do.
Yeah, there is a lot of that for sure.
Yeah. I'm a good detective.
Oh, it's good detective work. It was. I mean, our school was pretty mixed. West Island's pretty multicultural too, but it was notably. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not going to get in trouble. There's one group we could all make fun of. This is the white kids.
Oh, I don't think we're making fun of them. It's more of an observation, yeah.
No, because they would do very stereotypical things, like get drunk. Like, there was always at a house party, like the Dave Chappelle bit, like where like there's always like something being inserted in some guy's butt who's passed out because he drank too much or something.
See, I didn't have that.
Yes.
I didn't have that at all. I wasn't exposed. I thought that was just on the
parties. TV. I just heard about it. One day, a kid came to school, and his name was now Hot Dog Boy, and that's all I know.
Whoa! Josh shoved a pipe up Kyle's ass.
Yeah, and everyone high fives. Yeah. Drinks Mountain Dew.
Yeah. No, I was never exposed to that. Only on the TV.
No, I had a bit of both. You know what I mean? I had a. That's what I like about. I like Montreal in general, but like the West Island is like we had a lot of ethnicities, and I got to grow up around that, and then I also had the very stereotypical like. Kyle, Cody.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean?
I thought they weren't real for years.
I'm still not sure.
I only started meeting people like that in university, Concordia, because I started to have a lot of friends from the States that would come here for school and shit. And that was when I was like, oh, fuck, you exist.
Yeah.
That was
No, because I guess this is a kind of running joke within Montreal, but the West Island is like half Ontario, a little bit, parts of it.
Yeah,
Some of
yeah.
it, you know?
But I would never go to West Island either. It was too
Yeah.
far. The West Island, like if you're from Park X and you were a kid back in the day then when barely anyone was driving, they had cars, were using public transport, all that stuff was like off limits in the sense, unless you have a friend or a family, a relative that lives around there, these are all faraway lands.
Yeah.
This is Middle Earth shit.
That's how I feel now about
Yeah.
them. And I grew up there.
Yeah.
I go there. I'm like, what the hell is this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And for us, growing up in the West Island, anything east of Lachine or Ville Saint Laurent, past the airport, it was downtown.
Okay.
It was all downtown. It could be RDP downtown. Park X was downtown. NDG was downtown. You know
That's
what I mean?
amazing.
I still, because I moved to NDG when I was like 17. So I got out like
Early,
kind of
yeah.
early, you know? And until today, friends I grew up in the West Side are like, bro, you live downtown? And I'm like, I
guess.
I guess, sure.
I don't live here.
Yeah, exactly. I don't live in this fucking shit place.
But you got to live to a lot of places because you lived for years in South Korea
Yeah, yeah.
teaching kids how to speak
That's
English.
wild. Yeah, that seems like a different life. Speaking of not knowing if it's the future or the past, it seems like a different life. I sometimes forget that I did that. I'll just be like, oh my God, that was 4 years of my life was just teaching kids, working my ass off. You know what I mean? I started comedy there. So that was when...
For expats, though.
For expats, yeah. It's very distinct and, specific subculture you're playing to. But I think I would have never started had I not started there. Because it felt not real, honestly. I think a lot of expats, when we were there, spoke about that. Where it's like, this doesn't feel like real life.
You feel like it's a VR simulation?
Almost. Because everything is so alien and so different. And like I lived in like a kind of a quiet suburb, like an hour south of Seoul. I say suburb, it's very as densely populated as our, like a neighborhood like Park X would be.
Okay.
But because the country as a whole is so densely populated, that's like a equivalent of a suburb to them, you know. And I'd be like, there was like 12, non-Korean people in the neighborhood. So if I went to the grocery store, I was like an alien. It was wild. It didn't feel real. You kind of become numb to it after a while. Even the money, you look at the money, it's all weird colors, and you're like, what is this? Take it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't take it serious.
Yeah,
you don't
it's
respect
wild.
the money.
Yeah, I don't. There's a certain level of respect, but it's like, growing up here, I never really had money. I've been working since I was young, and it was always something that with the upbringing I had, it was like, just hold on to this, never spend it. You know what I
But
mean?
there it felt like Monopoly money.
There it was like, also, I was making real money for the first time in my life.
And you said crazy racist shit. You're like, explain who these people are. And like, they're different presidents and generals. It's all the same guy.
Yeah.
It's all the same guy. They're like, oh, Jesus, no.
Take this. Yeah. No, yeah, there's certain topics you don't want to touch.
Politics? Can you touch
Korean.
politics there?
Are you talking about in terms of just like regular conversation?
Just
or like
regular
on
conversation.
stage?
On stage. Is it? Oh, explain that to me. On stage versus regular conversation. Can you get away with stuff more on stage or less?
More on stage because you're playing to expats mainly, or you're playing to Koreans who have lived abroad, and like there's a huge Korean there's so many Korean people.
Yeah,
in
of course.
Toronto, here,
And Montreal.
California, LA, like huge communities. They're all over the world. Like Lebanese people were kind of like in
Greeks
every
too,
corner.
yeah.
Right, Greeks too. Greeks, a huge community, Australia and you're in England and wherever, So there's a large English-speaking population in Korea who've like gone back or back and forth, who are very aware, obviously, of their culture, but are basically Western too in their ideas. So like, you're kind of playing to an audience, almost like an audience here. But then you'll get scragglers in the bar who maybe know 20% English, and they just hear, oh man, I had a dude try to fight me after a show once.
What would you say? The North should take over.
He thought it was racist. I pulled my eyes back and I was like, ching chong bing bong. No.
And he thought it was racist.
Thought it was racist. Weird.
I was telling him what not to do.
I have no idea what I was saying. I mean, I've looked back at my
Wait, but why did he want to fight you? Oh, you don't remember?
He just heard me up. He just saw I was up there, and I think I was just talking about teaching. I wasn't even necessarily talking about Korea or Korean society or.
You think we need special ed teachers?
Yeah.
And he just went crazy.
He had very poor English, and
Oh, shit.
he was very drunk. And I don't know what I said. I probably just said the word Korea, or I was just talking about my experience as being an expat there, you know? I didn't have anything that was any particularly controversial or like, I never went out of my way to like make fun of, who knows, maybe I'll look back and be like, oh, whoops. But to my knowledge, like it was never anything too crazy, but he just heard me talking about being in Korea. People were laughing and he just got angry. And
He thought they were laughing at Korea.
Yeah. Like he got in my face and he's like, you laugh at Korea? You think Korea is bad? Korea is best. And I was like, oh, all right. And my Korean was okay at the time. And I kind of half in English, half in Korean was just like, I'm not at all.
Don't make me report you to the north.
I'm like, you totally misunderstood whatever it was.
You told him that in Korean?
Yeah. Something along those lines. You know what I mean?
Did he get it?
Yeah. After we ended up like hanging out all night and he bought me drinks and stuff. And
shit.
He apologized.
Very forgiving people.
Yeah. He was smashed, dude. He had and he spoke nothing.
Okay,
he just heard Korea, saw laughter, and he was like, you're insulting us and whatever. And then I think other Koreans too came in who were like, understood more, and they were like, he wasn't really saying anything. Like he was just talking about being a teacher and how it's ridiculous or whatever.
Okay.
And he kind of calmed down and we ended up just doing shots and getting smashed.
I like that.
That's what it's all about over there.
Everywhere. But they drink a lot in Asia, I heard.
I think Korea, the last time I checked, was right behind Russia in alcohol consumption per capita.
Is there a reason why? Is there an actual reason why? Because I heard the same thing in Japan. And I don't,
Japan too,
I don't understand. I heard it was something to do, in Japan at least, they work so hard during the day that when they have time off, they get so shit-faced, sometimes they'll just fall asleep on the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah. I can't speak for Japan, obviously, but in my suburban neighborhood, it was not uncommon for me to see at 7 p.m. in the evening on a Tuesday, a guy in a full suit just vomiting into some bushes.
And this was normal. Everybody there's like, haha, good night yesterday.
Yeah, the guy would just get up and then get back to the table and order more drinks.
But people who would see this, like let's say if I see a guy outside smashed on the floor, I'm like, look at this pathetic piece of garbage. Like that's how I see it here culturally. I'm like, get your shit together, man. But over there, it's more like, all right, Tom had a long night.
Yeah.
It's just normal.
Totally
like, all right,
normal.
Tom, I get it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
They're like classic Steve.
Yeah. That's interesting to me. It's not frowned upon because everyone gets smashed.
Absolutely. And I think it has to do with the fact that people work so hard. Like normal hours for them is 60 hours. For us, 40. For them, it's 60.
Wait, hold on. We work 40 hours?
Some people.
I get the memo.
The chumps.
I'm at 70 now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm always, just...
Sure. Yeah. But you do something cool, creative that you like. There
you go. That's what I tell myself.
You work in a call center for 40 hours. Jesus. You know what I mean? Oh, I've been there.
Even 20 was like all my jobs before were ever since I left the pharmacy, we're all full-time at companies and stuff.
Yeah.
Some were better. I'll tell you one thing. I should give a shout out. The funnest real job I ever had, the fun, and not that the rest were bad. There was a lot of good ones too, but the funnest time I had was when I worked at EA.
You worked at EA? Cool.
Yeah. That was the funnest.
What were you doing?
I was development coordinator, and with them, what I had that I really liked is that my schedule was fixed, but not really. So it was the first place that I got to witness if you get your work done, I don't give a shit. Get your fucking work done that you promised. So I would be able to stroll in at 11, work for a couple of hours, go to the gym, across the street, work out, shower, come back, work till 7, 8, whatever I needed to finish my stuff. Everyone's there happy because there was no deadline. If it was crunch, it's different. You're always working, but if it's not crunch, and everyone was okay with it because what he said he's going to get done today, he got done today. It didn't happen at 5, it happened at 7, but we didn't need it today. We need it for tomorrow anyway. So it got done. So that I loved. I love the flexibility over there.
That's so important, I think.
Yeah.
I think the pandemic has made that more clear to people, that it's like with everybody working from home, that it's like, we don't necessarily need to be crammed in this box and everything has to be done between 9 and 5 or else nothing exists.
Then I took that because that was the guy who was my boss, the development manager. I took that. I learned stuff. I took those skills. And then when I started managing, I went to other companies. I started managing teams, became producer or project manager. I used the same technique whenever I work with people. They'd be like, okay, look, this is due on Friday. I'm going to be honest with you. You want to sleep in the morning. You don't have to be here at 9 or 10. I don't give a shit. You want to stroll in at 11, stroll in at 11. But you better, whatever you fucking promise me, get it done. I'm not gonna hold your hand. I'm not gonna look out every day like, hey, did you do this? Did you do this? I'm never over your shoulder. I hate that micromanaging.
Yeah.
And then I would get better results. Something that they said they would get done on Friday, they'd get done on a Thursday, on a Wednesday, because they were comfortable. They'd stroll in when they wanted. They would do their fucking work. They were so happy. They'd stay a bit later. Do this. I don't give a shit. Make your life good for you. Fulfill the promises. Then I fulfill to the customers. I tell them this is what's gonna happen, and it really does happen. Everyone's happy. I always hated the whole. No, I just want you, even if you're done, I want you here for 8 hours. I want you to do it. What's the point? You're just stressing people out for no reason.
No, absolutely. And productivity, I think, goes down. Like
it does. I'm telling you, I had statistics at the time, different strategies, different teams. It was painfully obvious that the productivity went down. So you'd get more hours out of people, hours on paper, but the results were always lower than the people who work less hours but comfortable hours. So I didn't care. I'd rather have you, if 35 hours, I'm going to get work that for the other team would be 50. But if I put you at 40, I'm going to get work for 40 or less or whatever. Fuck that. I'd rather have you 35 and you give me the output. That's crazy. That's a no-brainer. But you always have some people that get into management positions and they just like telling people what to do. They like nagging. They like being over your shoulder.
God, the worst.
So you can't move forward with that because you're never going to get the work that you need done. And you're going to be stressed. Because you're like, oh, fuck, I fucked up. Do I tell him? Do I not tell him? Do I do this? You're always second-guessing yourself. It's very bad.
That's one of my observations of Korea is that. A lot of people have observed that too, is that's the mentality there. And
Micromanaging?
Micromanaging, yes. And just like the extreme hours, regardless of...
Output.
Like, yes. Okay, let's look at education.
Yeah.
Japan, Korea, every year score very high in like just international test scores. Very high, usually 1 or 2. Also competing 1 or 2 is, I believe, Finland, another country in Scandinavia. And they have completely different outlooks on how education happens. In Finland, in Scandinavia, it's very much like you're describing, where like kids aren't necessarily pressured into studying all the time. They're more encouraged to kind of like, choose things that interest them. The hours are less crazy, but because they're doing things that interest them, there's kind of more productivity. And in South Korea, it's just like shove your head in a book from 6 a.m. till 2 a.m. Sometimes, like these kids sleep like 4 hours, some of them, especially high school. Jam your head in that book. You can get up to maybe go to the bathroom. You could maybe, go to like some other activity, piano lesson or like taekwondo or like whatever other activity that is stimulating. But don't you dare like, chill out for a second or do something you like.
Because you're wasting valuable time.
Wasting valuable time that you need to be just study. Just cram your head in that book. And they do well because, there's so many hours put in. But they do just as well as like the Scandinavian countries in international tests who study maybe a third of the time or, something like that. So it's like two mentalities that produce the same result. But one, you have crazy high suicide rate.
There you go. Students, it's all the secondary stuff that I think about.
Yeah, which is it really honestly broke my heart when I was working with kids. Because it's not like I'm so passionate about teaching English or whatever. I did my job, I did my best, but a lot of the times, like the stuff we were actually, the books were like horribly written. The stuff we had to do was not helping them.
You were kind of like Michelle Pfeiffer. You walked into a Korean Dangerous Minds situation.
Yeah, exactly.
You threw the chair in front. You sat the other way, and you're like, "How do I get through to you guys?"
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be like, we're gonna play some games today. All right, we're gonna do it a little differently. And they'd be like, "What?"
You pulled the same thing she pulled. She took a student out to dinner, and then you could eat whatever you want. And when you ordered, I don't know if you remember this. He looked at the waiter. He was like, "I would like a chicken." A whole one.
No,
it was the greatest line ever.
I saw this. Was it Coolio? No, I don't know.
No, it was a Latino kid.
Okay.
But it was just funny the way he said it because like, I want a chicken. A whole one, like the whole thing. Like, don't bring me half a fucking chicken, bro. Like,
yeah, the director was like, "Listen, you've never been to a restaurant. Order like a human being would never order."
Yeah, that's all I have. But yeah, so you wanted to get through them, but that. Wait, did you have people?
I didn't want to get through. I just wanted them to chill. I saw my.
Did you have people not chilling? That's what I'm.
No, they were so stressed all the time. And I'd have kids sleeping and they were depressed, man. Like I'd have kids come in, just put their head down. They're exhausted. And I was like, "How was your weekend? What did you do? Study. Anything else?" I play League of Legends. And you're like, "That's
they
it?
love that stuff.
Study League of Legends, study League of Legends." You know what I mean?
It's not a life.
Fuck, dude. Like I felt bad for them. And it's like, some of them would tell me they would sleep, 4 hours. They would study till 2. This is kids, some of them in elementary school. Like imagine a kid in here grade 4 studying till 2. That doesn't exist in Canada.
Yeah,
like,
that's insane.
What kind? You'd be like, nerd. Look at this loser. You would never.
I wish they would study here.
Yeah, exactly. To here we have like the reverse problem almost. But I really felt bad for them. It's just one of those. It's one of those.
Is it cultural, like parenting wise, you have to study, or is it because it's so competitive and there's so many people that they want to be the best that they try so hard?
Yeah, it's both of those things for sure.
Okay.
It's the fact that education is highly valued, and
As it should be.
Sure. And there's a lot of good things. I'm not trying to be like everything's bad. Like living there, I was like, some things here are so much better, and some things in Canada I way prefer.
Yeah.
And the thing that I way prefer is the fact that we're like a little more chilled out on the work culture, where it's not like kill yourself studying, because some people actually fucking kill themselves because it's too stressful.
Aren't different places in Canada different about it? Like in Montreal, we're known to be a bit more lax than, say, at Toronto.
That's from what I've heard. It seems that the culture, I don't know if you feel that when you go to Toronto, but
I feel it. That's why I'm saying I'm bringing, but it could just be me, because I'm just always, I don't care where I am. I'm like, calm down, bro.
I know. Maybe it's because we're both pretty like laid back guys, but like, man, I remember the first time going to do like shows, mics in Toronto. Like I got off at Union Station. I stopped for a second to like look at my phone on the side, and like some guys like, get out of the way, you're in the way. Like everyone's like bustling, and like they're like, oh,
that's how they are in New York.
Fuck. Right. Yeah. Toronto's like a wannabe New York a little bit. Yeah. Dude, Montreal, no one's ever been like, get out of my way. Like, no, everyone's chilling. Like, I don't know. People are so much more relaxed.
In
Things
comparison,
are a little slower. I much prefer that.
LA is a little too relaxed, I find sometimes.
Yeah. Too many sandals. Yeah.
Sandals. Like people show up to, this is another thing that's funny that you bring it up. I remember the first time I ever had to go for a business meeting down there, and I was all excited. And I remember someone showing up, not in flip-flops, but sandals. Yeah, they were sandals with no socks, so everyone in shorts. I was like, this guy's a CEO of a fucking huge company. He shows up. Now I look like a fucking asshole, wearing a fucking jacket and everything. Like,
because you can't see my toes.
Yeah, what the fuck is this? Now he's dressed like an asshole, but because he's dressed like an asshole, he's making me look like a goddamn asshole. And he comes casually late.
Right.
And it's just normal. Like, hey, you've been waiting a while. It's not like, what are you doing? That's not how we fucking do business. But then they're going to be like, why you have that like East Coast mentality? Because then they see the East Coast as, well, calm down. Right. But the reason why they do it, by the way, is because of fucking traffic. They're going to tell you it's because they're chill, but it's because they can't get to where they want to get on fucking time. That's why. Because that goddamn fucking highway, time doesn't stop. It goes backwards.
Like 53 lanes all jammed.
There's so many lanes, but they get jammed.
Yeah. God.
It's the most lanes I think I've ever seen, but they're always jammed.
That's wild. I've never been there, but I don't know. It looks like parts of the culture kind of look like ugh. But
parts of it, but there's something interesting that I don't know how I'm going to fucking verbalize this. I hope it makes sense to people. So you're a movie guy. You like arts, right? You're
not a huge movie guy.
I know you're a music guy.
Music, shows, more of a showman.
Okay. Yeah. So, music, everything gives you a feeling, right? There's a specific feeling, and maybe sometimes it could be replicated. You're like, oh, I get the same feeling now because of this smell that I did when I was in kindergarten, things of that nature. So before I'd ever been to LA, I was watching, I like Tarantino. Now, you know how I guess Scorsese, who was the best person to replicate, I guess New York, probably Scorsese in the beginning when he was doing independent shit with Joe Pesci and stuff, when they would show New York, you see in that light, it's a different New York than, let's say, a Spike Lee. Everyone has their own version of the city or the place they're in. And that feel is replicated on screen. For me, for the way my brain works, the closest to the feeling of California and Los Angeles, that area, has been Tarantino movies. Because before I had ever been, when I watched Tarantino movies, that feeling, the color grade, everything about it, and the way people are and the way things look, was behind a screen to me like it's a fake place. The first time I ever went to LA, it was the only movies, I go, holy shit, I see this place the way Tarantino sees it. I get that feeling from his movies, but from other movies in the region, they feel fake. It's not how it really feels. But that's because everyone has a different feeling of every place. So for you, for example, you might see a Tarantino movie, go to LA, you're like, feels completely different. Because you see it different. It's so hard to verbalize.
It's very personalized.
Yeah, the way he sees California and the way he sees is the way I see it. Like I see that little bit of extra grime, that little bit of extra, but not in a bad way though, just of, I guess, I don't know, just the people traffic and the way I see it in a different way. Like New York, there's no movie that makes me feel the way I feel when I'm in New York. No one's been able to replicate that for me, my feeling I get from there. But LA, Tarantino movies, I'm like, that's exactly, I could feel the heat. I could feel this, like the way the walls are, the way the buildings are. Like, I know exactly what he means. Like, the way he puts it on screen is the way it is for me when I'm there. It's very weird. It's. I was thinking about this the other day because I saw it pop up on Netflix and Pulp Fiction. And then it just came in my head. I go, it's fucking interesting that the way he sees it is the way I see it too. Yeah, because it's hard. It's even Montreal. Sometimes I see documentaries about Montreal. I'm like, that's a different Montreal.
I know what you mean.
It doesn't feel like the Montreal I'm experiencing.
Absolutely.
Such a weird thing to try to verbalize right now. It's like a feeling, but if
I'm
people,
nodding, but I have no idea what you're saying.
yeah, it's so difficult. Like, I know that it sounds insane.
Yeah.
But just it sounds insane, right? Oh, you get what I'm saying. Okay, so maybe other people get it. You ever watch documentaries? Think about this. You ever watch documentaries about your city that you're in, and they're showing you these places and just walls, and you're like, this feels like another city. It doesn't feel like mine. It's just because out of the way you see things, the way you experience things, this is different from the filmmaker, but it's the same place. It's hard when it's very difficult to find someone that sees and feels something the way you do. So for me, when I noticed, I was like, that's so strange that's where my feeling is when I go there. That kind of.
Yeah, there's certain angles you choose to show
Yeah, it's such a weird thing to verbalize, but.
No, I do. I'm just kidding around. I do kind of know what you mean. When you relate it to Montreal, for sure. Because I was actually recently watching just on YouTube, just people kind of like, different YouTubers coming to Montreal or whatever. And their videos, I'm like, that doesn't feel like, obviously they're seeing it from a very touristy vibes and places I've never been. And I'm like, that's not Montreal. Like,
it's something weird. And it's not even the location. They could show you a location that you've been to a million times, and the way they're portraying it, or the way the color, I don't know, there's something. These are things that happen in your head that you don't normally verbalize. So it was only recently, just like that, it was just a spark in my head, and it just came when I saw the poster. I was like, oh, that is interesting. It turned out that LA feels this, and then I started thinking about it, but I don't know how to talk about it. And now you were on the show and just came in my head.
Right.
I'm a weirdo like that. I get feelings. I'm like, how do I verbalize a feeling?
It is very tough sometimes. No, I know what you mean.
Even smelling. Sometimes there's a smell that comes in, and I'm taken back to kindergarten. And it's random shit.
Smell is supposedly very connected to like memory more than other senses.
Me, it's fall, wet asphalt. When I smell the wet asphalt here in the fall, it takes me back to, I think, my first day in kindergarten. And I could see things, and it's very fucking weird.
Yeah, it's wild how smell does that. For me too, like fresh cut grass in like late spring, early summer. Because
what does it give you?
Playing soccer as a kid, like as a 6-year-old, like in like some park in DDO, just like I'm there again.
It's
like
crazy.
Running around, I'm tiny. Like immediately brings me back. Yeah. Apparently, smell does that more than other things. But it is very hard to verbalize a feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's interesting because like in music too, when you are trying to play a bit of guitar and bass, and like I'm trying to, with this time I have in the pandemic, get a bit better, and I learn stuff on YouTube. And
Are you playing guitar?
Mostly guitar, yeah. It's mostly very useful to learn on YouTube, but there's something beyond just learning the notes of like you're learning a song. It's a feel.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Music, like real good musicians talk about that, and like my brother would talk about it for years. He's a very good musician. And I'm like, what do you mean feel? And then I started playing a bit more and playing with him. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
Like I like reggae music a lot. And like the bass lines are very simple. They're very simple. Like on paper, it's almost like some songs, they're like almost like childlike simple. It's like 3 notes.
But all together, everything
played, it's like, it's beautiful. It's crazy, but it's just the feel. How you do it. I'll try to replicate it. I'm like, I'm playing the same notes in the same time. I've got a metronome and everything, but it's weird.
It's weird trying to verbalize, but that's what music does. Right? Music could give you. I have songs that they'll come on, and they'll transport me to another time in my life, to another feeling in my life that I haven't had since then. Stuff like that. It's like a fucking time machine. Just music, just a melody or the singer's voice or something will bring you back. And not just music that you would hear all the time during that period, but there's instinctually this riff does something to you. It brings you back to this time when that riff meant something to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's fucking amazing how we all go through it, but because it's hard to verbalize, we never actually outwardly talk about that.
Yeah.
Like the power that music has. People are just like, it's catchy. But man, music smells, feeling, like I said, when a new city. When I go into a new city, what I think I noticed when I had took shrooms that night, every time So I never realized in my life that every block, everything has a different feeling. I didn't outwardly express it or know it, and most people don't pay attention until that night. Because when we would walk into lanes or when we were still in Park X, every time we turn, go into another block, everything's different, right? The architect, it would feel like I just started a new level in a game, and I'd be, oh, another and I would appreciate the fact that it's different, and it has its own qualities, and that happens subconsciously when you go to another city. You could be in North America, you go New York or Boston, it has a different feel. There's a feel, not just the architecture. There's a feel, the people, the way they move, the way things are spaced out.
Again, it's very hard to verbalize.
Very hard, but fun because I know that there's no way it's just me. Everyone's probably feeling this shit.
Absolutely. Yeah, literally. They're feeling it.
What's the feeling like for you in South Korea? Is it very... Me, I've never been, so I just, from the TV, I see neon and clutter, like people on top of each other in my head.
Yeah. How do you describe a feeling? Yeah, it's dense for sure. I wouldn't say clutter because it's quite clean regardless of it being dense.
I don't feel dirty. I think dense is what I was looking to say.
Yeah,
just
neon for sure. Seoul itself, again, each city within Korea has like a different feel. Seoul is just like, it's probably the biggest city I've been to. I guess I've been to New York, but I was really young. I don't really remember. Interestingly, Seoul kind of gives me that same feeling a little, but I don't know if it's psychologically that I know that they're both very big, dense cities. But it gives me a bit of that same feeling. Like it's so alive. It's dense and I know that's what they say about New York, but Seoul really, like, no matter what time of the night, you could do anything.
That's amazing.
You want to hit golf balls for some reason at 4 a.m., like when you're smashed with your friends, you could do that in Seoul. You want to, go play PlayStation, there's a room for that. You could go pay to play. Like anything you want to do is just happening at all times. So like that contributes to the feeling. Like anything's possible. I really love the feeling of Seoul. Like being out late, just like hanging out. It was like the feeling of just kind of like endless possibilities. And
is there danger? Are there dangerous neighborhoods? Like, how does it feel? Does it feel like every other North American city or safer?
No, it feels way safer.
Interesting.
You talk to locals there and they're like, oh, don't go here or whatever. But it's funny because there's like the foreign kind of district of Seoul, which is like where I started doing comedy and where a lot of
that's like the no-go zone?
Yeah, they're like, don't go there. And
bunch of foreigners.
What? I don't know. It's just a Turkish guy selling kebabs.
Yeah.
African dude selling dashikis. And like, it's not scary. But there, I guess, when you grow up around only your own culture, you're
weary.
Like, what? What's the kebab guy? He's got a big sword. I don't know what he's doing with that. But no, very safe. Very safe. I love Seoul. I'm in love. And then Busan is the second biggest city. It's on the southeast.
Okay.
And it has a very different vibe. It's like on the sea, right? So it's got like, for me, it feels like Beirut, actually, to me. Feels very similar. I've said that to like my cousins in Lebanon. They were like, not that they've been to Busan, but they're like, there's no way. I showed them pictures of like, that looks...
But the feeling is different than the look, yeah.
Exactly, it's the feeling. And I think a lot of that feeling could be the fact that you just smell the salt of the sea wherever you are. And like, much like Beirut, it's like, it's like a little, it's like a triangle that juts out. Busan too, it kind of juts out into the sea. And then there's kind of a mountain behind it. So like the further you go inland, the more you can have a look of the sea. You can always kind of see the sea almost wherever you are, unless you're like in the thick of the buildings. So yeah, Busan, I loved Busan, southeast of Seoul, very similar. Like just the seafood and kind of like you can smell like the salt is in the air and it's also very dense and bustling. And
is there tensions there because of the north? Like are they always tense that there might be a war or do they not even think about it?
They think about it so much less than we do. It's so interesting.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's been going on. The Korean War was in 50 to 53. It's been forever. And the two countries have diverged almost to where they're like just different planets. Honestly, It's wild. I'm obsessed with North Korea, by the way. So, forgive me if I go off forever.
No, I'm always curious about that. I had my buddy on Two Check Minimum a while. My buddy Michael Malice came on, and he's been to North Korea.
Right, I've heard him.
He writes books about it and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I should read his book. I've heard him talk on podcasts.
Yeah, Malice
he's a very interesting guy. Yeah.
He's an interesting guy, and he's been on Rogan too a couple times. So he knows this shit. He's been there a while.
Sure.
And he was telling me how weird it was, but he's not even like a hater of it. He's more interested in it. He's more like, this is how it's done there. Look at how crazy this is and how we do. And it's fascinating. It's fascinating how they are.
Yeah, I'm so intrigued by it. It's wild because it's just like it's like another planet.
He's the one who made me realize that there's people there basically suffering. Like it's like you're being held captive.
Yeah.
In a sci-fi world. Like one, the border. If the world is so different in South Korea and North Korea. Like one place, there's famine sometimes. The government could take you in the middle of the night, you disappear. And just over the border, there's K-pop stars and like you said, mini golf at 4 a.m. or neon signs everywhere. It's food, crazy.
Every food you can imagine.
Every food you can imagine, kebabs, souvlaki's, whatever the hell you want. And just across the border, nightmare world, a made-up world, fake facades, craziness to think how close they are.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, it's a legit Orwellian nightmare.
You want some water?
Actually, sure. Yeah.
Silent, grab some water.
Sure. Thanks, man. But yeah, getting back to your original question. Very good question, because people think like, oh man, it must be tense. It's wild. They have the troops facing each other at the border 24/7. When you're there, people talk about it when you want to talk about it, but it's not it's almost a non-issue from what I can tell. Definitely. I was there 4 years. Nobody really talks about it. Thanks, bro. And like they have military missions every year, like in the springtime, like the U.S., tons of U.S. bases in Korea. So the South Korean military and the American military, every year they conduct operations like drills, and then the North does some wild stuff. And every year it's in the news cycle in North America. It's like, tensions are rising. What's going to happen? Nuclear war? Question mark. And like, I'll get messages from people like, you okay? I know you're in South Korea. And you're like, nobody mentions it. My first year I was there, I went to my co-teacher, and it was the first year there. I was panicking because I was hearing North American news. I was listening to like whatever
CNN,
something like that. And then like I was like, oh, should I panic? And they were like, what the hell are you talking about? What's going on? I'm like, they're conducting drills. They're like, who gives a shit? No, it's not real. And you're like, okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, what's fucked up about that is I've always heard, and even the whole James O'Keefe thing came out a couple of weeks ago, the Project Veritas, the guy that they had, they tricked the CNN producer into going on a Tinder date with a hot chick, and they had him on basically it was being recorded. And man, hot chicks make guys divulge a lot of information.
Oh God, yeah.
So he basically said on camera that he even referred to the word propaganda for what they do at CNN. And he goes, yeah, of course we make stuff to make people scared. It's all part of the game. Yeah, you have to fear. It sells. No, that's why. And he was saying how that's why when they were doing the COVID stuff, they put the skull. Because I even asked that a year ago, why did they put the skull in the bones? Like, that's crazy shit. Like death count, all that shit. So he was talking about that, how they scare people because it makes you want to watch.
Interesting, yeah.
And people have been saying that for years. Like in North America, you guys, it's very scary. Your news is never like, hey, this happened, or it's always like, are your kids safe? Your neighbor might be a pedophile. It's always scary, scary shit. And it's fun to look at it from that perspective, where the place that should be the most scared if they were really next to a dictator that's about to drill them, instead is like, nah, nothing's happening. You guys that's your news media scaring you guys here. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, and I saw that every year. It was the same time. It was like April, May. The U.S. and South Korea would conduct their drills. Oh my God, tensions rising. You ask, like the second year I asked like one person instead of two people, like, is it okay? They're like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
This happens all the time.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's I think, you got to get clicks, you know what I mean? Everyone's got a gimmick, and the mainstream news medias, they got to find a way to like get people to watch. Like if you open up a thing and it's like, your neighbor might be a pedophile, you're way more likely to click than it's like, you know what, your neighbor?
I fucking thought Steve was a pedophile. You're clicking on it?
Yeah. Poor Steve today. He's getting everything.
Steve is always my go-to name.
Yeah.
For ridiculous. And I used to have a buddy that I work with that one time he thought I was just making fun of him if I'd go on stage or whatever. But like, no, I've been saying that before I met you. It's just, for me, it's the simplest.
Yeah.
It's simple, and it could be goofy. If you say Steve, that's why I say it.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. I think I might use, I don't know.
Steve is good, bro. Steve.
Good. Yeah.
Because everybody could laugh at it. It's not super specific. You know what I mean? Like if you're like, you say someone's real ethnic specific name, now it's like you're attacking someone.
Yeah,
Steve is fucking generic as hell.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody knows Steve.
It's a very different tone, right? If you use like a specific ethnic name, it's like, okay, this guy's got an edge.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up, Hassan. And you're like, that's very specific.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
But if it's Steve, it's like, I get behind Steve.
Yeah, we all know Steve who sucks. Yeah.
That type of person. And now it's funny because I know a Steve. I have one of my business partners is Steve. So he's gonna hear this. He's gonna be like, is that about me? Is that son of a bitch talking about me? But it's never that.
Yeah.
When are you going back? You're gonna bring the girlfriend to South Korea? You're gonna show her around?
I'd like to. I definitely want to. My plan was to actually go around now.
This was pre-pandemic.
It was kind of in the books, you know. But yeah, who knows?
Next year maybe.
Could be.
How are they doing down there? Are they all vaccinated or?
I check up every once in a while, but it's been a while since I kind of looked. You know, every couple of months I go, "How is this country doing?" Out of curiosity, but I'm honestly not sure. It's been
friends
several months. I have a couple friends, but I haven't spoken to them in maybe a year or two. You know what I mean? I think I messaged one of my good buddies, kind of actually the guy who kind of got me into stand up. He's been there forever. He's a lifer. He
wants to live there.
He's married. Yeah, his wife.
He married a Korean woman.
Yeah,
okay,
so he's like I believe he's a citizen now, and he teaches in a university, I think.
Oh shit, he must be
got a pretty good job.
Must be making some money.
Unless he got fired, I don't know. He's a bit of a degenerate. Funny guy though. I think I messaged him like in the beginning, and how's it going? He's like, it was locked down, but I haven't spoken to him in a while.
Would you, if your girlfriend likes it there, would you be able to move there or no? That's not.
We've actually talked about it. I'm worried about her. She's like, oh yeah, that would be so cool. But I'm like, she's cool as fuck. She's open-minded. I'm sure she could adapt, but I don't know if she realizes how different it's going to be, how intense. Like when I went, it was a different time. I don't know if it's going to be the same for me. You know, I was 22, 23. I, just wanted to get out of Montreal. I love this place, but it's like, fuck, I gotta
see the world.
Yeah, I just wanted to I just been a student. I was a nerd, like I had I'm thankful, but I had my mom shoving education is everything, right? And I was scared straight, I was like besides fucking drinking and smoking, I didn't really do anything crazy, It was school. So, and I was always working. I started working, as soon as I could legally.
Same,
Even when I was, before that, I was working in warehouses.
Exactly. I was about to say, even before it was legal, I was working.
I was working. Dude, I've been stacking boxes in warehouse every summer since I was fucking 14, maybe 13. I don't know. Reffing soccer when I was 11.
I didn't ref soccer. I ref basketball once.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. God, I stopped that because I couldn't take the abuse after a while. I was too sensitive when I was younger.
Yeah, me too. I would take it out on the team.
Yeah, I would just be like, yeah, I would get so mad. But my point is it was just schoolwork. I finished university, and I was like, fuck, this can't be it. I was working, and I was like, oh, get me out of here. I researched, what could I do? I can't. I'm not like some trust fund kid that I can just going backpacking in Europe for a year. I had no money, I'm like, okay, where can I go that's very different, but I can work? And South Korea was the number one place where I could easily find work. Plus it's this is nothing like what I know. And I had some friends in university from Korea. So they would tell me about the culture, and I was kind of intrigued. It's kind of cool.
It's very cool. I like South Korea. I like the culture, everything I see.
Love it.
I like that kind of stuff.
Such an awesome place.
Them and the Japanese I'm impressed by.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Japan for sure, because I know there's crossovers, similarities in the two cultures, and then ways that they're very different. So I'd like to definitely see that. It was just kind of too expensive when I was out there. I was just trying to save money, so I was like, it wasn't a priority. But my point is, it was a different time. I was a young,
whippersnapper.
Yeah, I was a young whippersnapper. You know what I mean? You're just young, dumb, full of cum. You're just like, what's cool, and I'm happy I went. That's how I discovered doing comedy, coming back full circle, I had no idea. That was not an intention. It was always something I loved and I wanted to do as a bucket list. I used to go to the works as soon as I could when I was 17, 18. And I loved it. But I was like, I could never do that. I could make my friends laugh. So you would go to comedy works
just to watch comics, not because you were planning an open mic set?
A bit of both. The first times I had no intention of doing it. It was one of those things I would love to try it once just to say I did it, because I love this thing and I love the art. I've loved it since I was a kid, I used to watch Comedy Now. I remember
Comedy Now. Yeah, it's Saturday nights.
TV. Yeah, those came on. I was glued to the television. I thought there was something so captivating about this.
Yeah. Do you remember anybody that you saw on that?
Man. Now, no.
I remember. I remember Russell Peters' first that set there, the white shirt.
Of course,
but I remember
going to get hurt that one. Yeah.
But I remember watching it when it came out, not before it went viral. And Manoli Zontanos, the first time I had seen him was there. I remember a couple of them.
I remember going back and watching them maybe 4 years ago, and I go, oh, I remember that. Off the top of my head, I can't remember any.
Those are the only two that I remember that had. I don't remember if I saw Nathan McIntosh, but I remember seeing those two there. Those are two that stick with me. And I remember the TV I watched it on, dude. And this was years ago, dude. I remember putting the volume up, and it was 11 o'clock on Saturday night, some shit like that.
I think that was exactly it. CTV.
CTV.
Well,
I remember.
CTV comedy,
If you had cable, it was channel 11. If you didn't,
11,
it was 12.
Yes, channel 11. Yeah,
I remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird because you don't realize how it's stuck with you until you mentioned comedy now, and then that memory came in.
It was never. I wasn't like, as a kid, like I want to be a comedian one day. I never thought of it. Actually, interestingly, when I read this, I almost like froze. I was looking through old shit because I used to write a lot when I was a kid. I wanted to be a writer when I was like a young, like elementary. And I looked at a short story I wrote when I was like in grade 3, and it was about a stand-up comic. I didn't even know I knew what stand-up comedy was. It was about a stand-up comic. I was grade 3, and he just the whole point of the story is that he goes up and he's bombing, and then he starts having back spasms, and he's writhing on the ground, and people are booing and laughing at him. That's the whole story. But I remember like reading that. Like 4 years ago, and going through old papers, and I read it, and I was like, no way, holy shit. Like this was actually in my head.
Yeah, the seed was planted. You don't even know when.
Yeah, and I was already scared of bombing, you know?
Imagine that. Isn't that fucking funny?
I'm like fucking 9, you know? But yeah, it was never something I thought of doing. So I'm young, go to Korea. I just wanted to get out and work. Really cool experiences, whatever, meeting, blah, 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 all that stupid shit. And then, the guy I'm talking about, Dan Weiberg, shout out to Dan Weiberg. He was
shout out Dan.
He had an open mic, and he had kind of mentioned it, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Whatever, maybe let me know when it's happening. But I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool. Then I met John Borello, who's like
I know he's a funny dude,
very funny guy. We met there, and like we hit it off right away. Like for the
John, I have a problem with him that he doesn't know how funny he is.
Oh, he knows.
No. He knows? Does he know now?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Just kidding. He's a funny motherfucker.
He's very funny. He's one of the smartest, funniest people I know. Love him. Love him to death. But I marry him. He's a good man.
He's a good man, yeah.
We met, and like for the first time there, at least, I was like, okay, this is someone cool. Because you go, it's a weird pool of people you meet when you go to when you're
and when you're alone.
You're alone. You're in the neighborhood. I see a random, non-Korean person. You're like, you want to hang out? And then you end up hanging out, and you're like, this person
I'm an illegal immigrant.
Sucks. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But he was one of the first people I met. It was like, oh, I remember this. Laughter, banter, riffing. And we were making each other laugh so much. And I was like, man, you should try stand-up. He was like, you should try stand-up. And we got an opportunity with that guy. Tried it for the first time together, same night. It was like maybe 2013 early, maybe 2012 late. And looking back, we were terrible. Like the narrative in my head is like we both crushed. We did the best of who was there that night, I think, but we were all terrible.
Yeah, that's kind of my story too. People are like, I remember you got laughs your first time. Like, because by comparison.
Yeah.
But I can never say that stuff now. It was just garbage.
It was so bad. I thought I was amazing for like the first 2 years. I legit was like,
oh, really?
Wow.
I always thought I sucked.
You know what I mean? Now I think I suck.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I'm so good. I would have quit, had I known how bad I was. I would have for sure quit. Just because, you do your set, you're so nervous. And then like 5-6 people come up, they're like, that was really good. And in your head, you're like, that was really good. You listen to the tape, you're like, I got some laughs. And I still have the recording and I've listened to it. I'm like, if I got that number of laughs with that crowd today, I'd be like, I ate it so bad, But back then...
Oh, yeah, that's true, because your barometer was off.
You don't know what to expect, but you set a punchline and some people laughed. 3 people laughed, and you're like, that was amazing. Victory. Now, if 3 people out of 20 laugh, I'm like, okay, throw that joke away. It's nothing,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think had I started here, I would have quit.
And where's John from when you met him there?
I met him there. He's from upstate New York.
Okay.
And
then you convinced him to come here?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly.
He didn't know what he was getting himself into.
Mm-hmm. Not at all. Yeah, but
Was it easy for him to immigrate here?
It's an ongoing process. Yeah.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
an
that's
ongoing.
what I figured.
Let's not get into it. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, but yeah, it's fucking annoying.
It's boring. It's all kind of bullshit. But yeah, he likes it here, man. He like. Also, the States now it's opening up, but for a while it's like, where do you want to go? You know, like
You know,
it was
Florida.
chaos.
Florida gets a bad rap all the time in the news because of
I
Florida
love
guy.
dude.
And I haven't been to Florida, but it's one of those places now that I'm starting, at least my perception of it is starting to change. I'm looking at it way more favorably.
Florida, as I like to call it, Southern Quebec. That's what it is.
Well, there's a lot of Quebecers there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm starting to think about a lot of the shit, like the dumb Florida guy jokes that they do. But that would be funny, regardless of where it happened. All those stories, right? It's just because it happens in Florida, because Florida's pretty free, open state. But I don't know. I've been looking at it, like their tax laws and the way they are. I was like, you know what? It seems like a fucking fun place to be. It seems like a good place. You don't have to be in Miami if you don't want to party all the time. But there's other places. I don't know. It just seems like I've overlooked Florida.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. I don't know. You ever been to Florida?
I've been a couple times, actually.
Am I wrong about Florida? Is it a shithole?
No, I love Florida.
There you go.
It is a shithole.
Okay.
But I love it. Parts of it are, like I feel like the kind of like the middle chunk is like, oh, Jesus.
Is that like Jacksonville?
I don't think I've been that north. Last time I was there, I was like west of Fort Lauderdale, like kind of in the center.
How is Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, it's like a lot of older Quebecers, a lot of like retirees, snowbirds, a lot of bloated, sunburnt, old white retired
I don't want
people.
that.
Yeah. That was my experience, at least. Miami is so cool. Love Miami.
Right, huh?
So dope. I drove to the Keys. It's gorgeous. Like you're like basically just on a highway in the middle of the Caribbean.
That's what I mean. Like that kind of
So
shit
nice.
seems amazing.
It's close, like.
Plus a lot of Cubans. You get to eat Cuban food.
Oh.
There's something that, to me, I'm looking at it now. I'm like,
flavor, baby.
yeah.
Oh, baby, it's got flavor.
I don't know. It's.
I like it. No, I like Florida. It was really, really. Even the grimier parts were like, there's something here. The feel is, in some parts, is like, I got bugs crawling on my skin here.
Oh, okay.
Figuratively and literally. But when you go to, mostly Miami, actually.
Have you been to Orlando?
Cool.
Mike goes to Orlando a
Been
lot.
to Orlando. I went to the whatever Disney
Tourist shit.
When I was like 14, I went with a buddy. His family had like a timeshare in Orlando, and I stayed there
Timeshare.
for,
Oh,
like,
poor. They got duped.
yeah, for sure. But I got to go. It was kind of cool. There are
Timeshare is just a scam, right?
great family. I think so. I mean, I learned that later on. When I was 14, I was like, "This is amazing. You guys are rich," and I was like, "Oh, geez." Later on, when you learn,
A timeshare is you're basically renting. You're paying money to rent a building or a room or whatever the fuck you want, a condo.
It was a small house.
A house for like a week in the year, and then other people also rent it, but on different weeks. So the people that originally have that place, they're making money off. Let's say theoretically, if there's 52 weeks, 52 different if there's 52 weeks, 52 different people that are renting it for a week apart, so they're making all kinds of money, but you're losing all kinds of money because it's nowhere near what you're paying and what you're actually getting. Right? Is that the gist of a timeshare?
I haven't looked into it too much, but it seems a little scammy when you see, people pitching timeshares to you. Like me and Tat went to Mexico, and it was probably a bad mistake. But when we were getting out of the airport to go to the resort, there was like a guy pitching. He was like, if you go to this, if you buy this package, you're gonna get all these deals on like scuba diving and all these activities we wanted to do. And I was like, don't.
Yeah,
she was like, no, this is amazing. And I was like, I have a bad feeling about this.
You gullible little shit.
The guy was like, all you got to do is go to this pitch meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was it. They pitch you a timeshare. They go and pitch you, and it's like you get every level of salesman. It was wild,
It's what's funny? Whenever I haven't been in that situation in years, but every time you get those multi-level marketing,
Oh God,
the way they act, and like in their head they think I'm fucking Ari Gold. I'm selling this right now.
Yeah.
But the way they act and the way you see them, like your perception is so different. I'm like, who's falling for this?
man. Oh God, the greasy salesman.
What's up, Hassan?
If you really want the image of a timeshare, from what I read, picture leasing a car.
Oh, leasing a car is like a timeshare.
I was just watching a CBC Marketplace video about how they kind of dupe people into like oh, it's a 97-month contract. And you're like, what the fuck? Does nobody? And it's like, it's such a scam. You're paying way more in the end.
Yeah, and it's a 97 month. No, I think it's different than leasing a car because personally now I'm no longer fine. I'm always leasing. I think it's the best thing because what I do is like my car that I have now, my lease is up next year, 1 year from now. So I had it for 4 years. But the thing is, I have everything in the maintenance, the tires, all that. So if anything happens, I just bring it in, they repair, they do all that shit, and I leave for 4 years. The second the 4 years are up, I'm going to get another car, at least the same. Because if I finance it on 4, 5, 7 years, the second you're done financing it, dude, that's when problems are going to start.
For sure.
So then I have more stuff to pay. So I'd rather just keep having a new car and leasing it.
No, leasing's the way to go.
Yeah.
For sure. But I've seen the
But I'm an
pictures
immigrant
of the lease.
mentality guy, so the first car I got, I financed like a dope.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't hear you. There's no microphone on you. So this is useless. Thank you.
Classic Poseidon.
Look, let me derail this show.
Yeah. Dude, I used to sell, man, the first salesman we got was like this young Mexican kid, and I felt so bad for him because like his heart's not in it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, dude, please just, we're not buying. I don't have, I could barely afford the vacation I'm on. Believe me, I'm not spending money.
I'm not spending money on a fucking timeshare.
Timeshare. But then they brought in the RE Gold type. Like there's always a type. He's like, he's a bit of a dick and he's just like in your face a little bit.
What are you, a dummy? Yeah. I'm offering you the deal of the century.
Yeah, the kind of like I don't like that type of dude. I don't know.
No, nobody does.
Okay, yes, it's good to be assertive as a man and whatever, but fucking Christ, dude, like chill out. Like he was very like, and I had to respond. Like I didn't want to stay there forever. I was like, listen, sir, with all due respect, we're both poor, but we don't have money. You're not. There's no budget.
Even if you get me to agree to like it, I can't get you the money.
What's your budget? I was like, I do not have a budget. This is my budget. This is my budget.
I didn't come here for this.
And he was like, get out of here. It was great. And then we got a free meal and whatever. But very like the place that was selling the timeshares, it felt like we were in a fucking what's that called? Scientology place. Like it was wild. There was almost I wouldn't be surprised if they had those. Look at your thetan levels.
Yeah, what are the levels? Where the fuck they call it Scientology? That's shit.
They just make you touch some electrode and like the harder you squeeze it, the more and they're like, oh, you're perfect for Scientology.
Oh, really? That's interesting. How come that guy was also perfect?
Yeah, everybody's perfect.
Yeah, you're perfect fucking sheep. I don't like culty shit either. Whenever I feel like they don't want to let me go, I'm like, whoa, I'm fucking leaving.
Yeah.
I don't like that stuff.
No, it's gross.
It's not the way you sell stuff.
Yeah.
I figure you give the person, you present them with the value, and then let them make a decision. The second you start pushing too much, I mean, when I was looking for a car a couple of years ago, when I was looking for my first, I think Poseidon was. Remember when we went to Honda on Decari? Were you with me? Was that you or Viron? The Honda XL Honda, I think, on Decari. Must have been Viron, yeah, because then Viron came to drive. Anyways, it was like the next week after, then I got my car, but not from there. I went and got a Ford because they were too pushy because of the harassment.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm still looking at, and then he's like, if you want this, you got to sign right now. And he was being such a dummy. I was like, you fucking idiots. I'm most likely going to get this car if you're not being a dick. But on principle, I'm going to leave. And then I left and I spent money at Ford instead, just because of the pushiness.
Sure. Almost out of spite. Yeah. I don't like that. It worked. The shitty part is they do it because it works on the majority of people. People kind of panic and they don't know what to do. I used to, man, of all the ridiculous jobs I've had, the craziest one was I would just sell random shit in the streets.
What do you mean?
Man, I went to a job interview around here.
Okay, yeah.
Right around here on Salem.
This isn't the place to go for job interviews.
Oh my goodness, dude. And I would come to Parkex to eat Indian food and Greek food, and that was pretty much it. My experiences with Parkex, right? Lived in NDG and before that West Island. Like I never ventured here. Let alone like those, there's a weird, and you go on a weird side street and you're like, what is happening?
Different worlds. Yeah. You've walked into a portal.
A different planet for sure. Speaking of feel, you're like, I don't like this feeling.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So it's like, it's up Saint Laurent, just above the 40 there somewhere. And like, I walk into this building that looks abandoned. Like, It looks like Baghdad today. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're like,
I know.
How is this Montreal? And yet, doorman. So very weird. Like this building is crumbling, and yet there's like a buzzer and a doorman.
There are a couple of those.
What is going on here? You know? Walk into the interview. The guy sits me down. He's like, oh, blah, 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 strengths, weaknesses, all that stupid shit. Talking very quickly. And after like 3 questions, he's like, okay, you're good to start today. And I was like, all right. I saw this on Craigslist. I thought it was like a telemarketing bullshit.
Yeah.
I was broke. I had racked, I was young. I racked up some credit card debt.
I gotta pay them
I need
off.
money right now.
Yeah.
I'll do anything. So he's like, okay, this guy's going to train you. He's going to show you the ropes or whatever. Some other shady looking dude with like his messy dress shirt that's like half tucked in. He like got like fucking.
He's doing the Gretzky, but with a dress shirt. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a mustard stain on it. And like, he's like got crumbs on his mouth. And I'm like, okay, this guy's going to train me. He's going to take me to a separate room full of computers and I'm going to sell some stupid thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm going to answer phones. He takes me to a garage with a car with 4 other guys in it who are all wearing shambled suits. And he's like, get in. I'm like, where are we going? He's like, you'll see. Like,
Is that what he said?
swear to
That's
God.
the
And I was
best.
like, I'm like, well, I'm far from home here. I'm far from NDG. Let's get in this car, see what happens. We drive from Park X to a industrial park in Ville Saint Laurent. And I'm like, this is where I get my kidneys taken. This is it. It's over. Like in my head in the car, I'm like, okay.
Of all the places to take you, though, somewhere where there's no foot traffic.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, no, it was wild. And I was legit planning like, okay, I think I could beat that guy up. I think I can run faster than him. Okay.
Were they all new? Was it all the new guys, or they knew what they were doing?
They knew what was going on, and they kept being like, you'll see. And I was like, oh, God, no, I don't like. Just tell me what it is.
Are we raping someone?
God.
Wait. Is that me? Are we raping me?
Yeah. How is this a job?
Yeah. You're going to pay me in cash?
Yeah. Opens the trunk of the car. It's full of shitty toys from China, perfume, all kinds
Oh
of
my God.
garbage. And he's like, we're going to go in there and sell that to them. I'm like, do they know
To
we're
who?
coming? To who? I'm like, to who? He's like, it's industrial park, just factories and just like those buildings where it's like all kinds of stuff, mostly like warehouses and factories.
Yeah.
And I was like, is there a meet? Like, we're going to pitch? Like, what's going on? And he's like, no, just walk in. You'll see. The guy walks in. It's the most ridiculous part. What he's selling as a toy is a Guitar Hero air guitar. I'm going to say that again. He's selling an air guitar.
I mean,
okay?
isn't air guitar when you don't have a guitar?
Yes.
Wait. Is he selling dreams?
Dude, I wish. He's selling nightmares, my friend. This guy it's like a belt you wear around your waist that you would just clip on, right? And there's like a thing that looks like it's like a plastic speaker. It's like an amp, which is a magnet. And then you have a magnetic pick. And when you wave it over the other magnet, it makes sounds. Like it'll do a riff, like Smoke on the Water, like dun 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 dun. The dumbest piece of merchandise you've ever seen in your life. But
Who is the demographic for this?
apparently a lot of people, I don't know. The guy walks in and sells like 5. First of all, it's like you're bursting. Like we're walking into buildings. I bet you I've sold in this building.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
believe.
I was on Chabanel all the time.
Yeah.
We'll walk in. We'll go upstairs. We'll knock on every door. It's good you got a lock. Believe me.
Oh, because you guys would just walk in.
We just walk in. You go to there's all these textile places here. You walk in, you go, hey, bonjour, tout le monde, ça va bien? Hey, everybody.
We have a show for you.
Yeah, like we're doing a promotion today. We're here from some made up bullshit. We weren't for anybody.
We're here from Guitar Hero Limited.
Yeah, exactly. And we would just pitch to whoever was there. And most people are like, get the fuck out of my office right now. But occasionally you'd get people who are like, that's so cool. A Guitar Hero. Steve.
Oh, God.
Steve, come here. Check this out. Wouldn't this be a fun gift for Kyle? Dun, dun, dun. And he's like, I guess. Shauna's birthday is coming up. Why don't we get one? You know what? And then sometimes you just get people buy a bunch of garbage,
Oh, my God. And would they pay cash?
Of course. Yeah, pay cash.
And then what's your
didn't
cut?
Take card. It's 50%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not bad. So it's like that particular toy.
Did you make any money? Did you do this for a while?
Dude, I actually made pretty good money. I did it for like maybe 6 weeks because it was
Mind-numbing.
it's horrible. And you have to become that. I saw the people who were really good. This is why I'm telling the story. Was the greasiest, pushiest people. The people who were just kind of assholes. They didn't give a fuck about. It's like you're like bullying some Haitian grandmother in on
You don't care about your
Jean Talon,
grandkids?
Yeah, like shit like that. I swear to God, I saw that exact
I've
thing.
seen that stuff. Yeah.
What hurt me is that, the people who ended up kind of falling for it and doing it was like older immigrants. It was like a lot of grandmothers. My best area was like Jean Talon and like Saint-Hubert, that corner.
Okay. Yeah.
And I felt bad because like you'd get, like some poor grandmother. She's got like 42 nieces and nephews back home. She needs presents. She'd be like, oh, peut-être, okay, je vais prendre 10. And you're like, oh God, she just gave me $100 or whatever for this knockoff perfume. So the main thing we sold later on was a perfume called Sex in the City.
Sex in the City.
Yes.
Well, it is a good place to have sex.
Does that phrase ring a bell? Like,
Of course it rings a bell, and I get what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different,
Yes.
but same.
But you're smart. Most people didn't realize that the show is called Sex
And the City. Yeah.
Out of the hundreds, maybe fucking thousands of people I've pitched in the streets of Montreal that spring, only one woman went, isn't the show called Sex and the City? Everybody else, I love that show. Oh yeah, this they just put out a perfume. It came out in France.
Oh,
and it was fake. It said made in France, but it was made in China, and it was super cheap, and it smelled like whatever. It smelled like chemical bullshit. Kate, that was it. If you got one person in the office, like if you could get the front desk chick, it was over. It was over.
Because then she would tell everyone?
Kids, this is where I learned about something called the Jones effect, which is like why does everyone have an iPhone? Everybody.
I don't have an iPhone.
Okay, well,
I'm a fucking rebel, baby.
Yeah, okay.
You came in the wrong fucking place with your mind control business.
So, yeah, there you go.
But I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, sure, okay, there's the Android iPhone debate. Now we're getting crazy.
I'm not even debating. It's just,
Yeah, I have an Android too. I don't have an
I know,
iPhone.
because we're fucking rebels.
Yeah, well, exactly. Because we think outside the box, dude.
I think definitely inside the box.
Yeah. But it's like there's this human quality where it's like we trust other people weirdly.
I get it.
So why does everyone have a blah? Because everyone has a blah.
So it must be good.
Yeah. Why does everyone like, you could get Jones affected with like people or things or like
music.
Music.
Fucking Nickelback. They rode the coattails of the Jones effect for years, and then people realized.
There you go.
It took Portuguese people throwing rocks at them for people to realize that they're not good. Yeah.
Yeah, then they became the butt of every joke.
Yeah.
Look at this photograph. Fuck off. Shut the fuck up.
The funniest thing I've seen was about them was on Vine. They had a thing where they would make fun of somebody. It's like, look at this faggot. And it was a picture of the kid. He's like, hey, what the hell?
I might have seen that. Yeah, that's good.
But
that's it. Yeah, so it's like
so you would get the
you
friend
would Jones affect somebody. You know what I mean? If you could Jones affect people.
If she was interested, because she's at the friend desk, she communicates with everyone. You knew you were gonna sell.
This is what killed me.
Yeah.
This is when I realized how crazy the Jones effect is. Was a technique we would do because we would usually go in groups of 2 to sell, and we would walk down the street and go to every business. So let's say we're on Saint Denis. One guy's on one side, one guy's on the other. We go into every business to solicit. This is a trick we would do when we couldn't sell shit, and it would work 100% of the time. I don't know why we only didn't do this. The other salesman would pose as a random. So, and because it would only work if somebody was on the fence. I come up to you and I go, hey, sir, I got this new perfume, Sex in the City. Your girlfriend, Valentine's Day is coming up, right? Blah, whatever. It's coming out. It's going to be 120 in stores, but we're doing a promotion today. I'm selling it for $10.
Oh, fuck.
And you go, I don't know. You're clearly like, this could be a scam. It's a guy on the street.
Yeah,
so you're in your head going, it's $10. My girl's birthday's coming up. Maybe if my other guy came up pretending to be a random
and interested,
and he went, oh my God, is that the new Sex in the City perfume? Holy shit. I'll take 2. If he bought it, 100% of the time that person would buy. That's how crazy it was, because we trust other people's judgment. That's the Jones effect, right? We go, well, this guy must know what he's talking about. I don't know what this is, but I'm kind
somebody
of out of the
who
loop.
knows what it is.
Yeah,
is
this guy-
very excited.
This guy seems to know that what this is and that it exists and it's legit. Okay, I'll buy it. For sure I'll buy it.
That's so crazy.
Nuts. That gave like it changed me as a person. I saw people differently after that. I was like, that's very, wow. And I started to see it everywhere where things kind of catch on. You know what I mean? It could happen with like comedians who suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who are like just blow up for a little bit. You know, if you're really bad, I don't think you have longevity.
You fizzle out. There's a guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you, what's his name? He's an American middle-aged guy who created this hype around him. And then he went to Asia. I think maybe he was tricking people into booking him for stadiums or some shit. And he's garbage. And American comedians use him as like who the fuck is this guy? He's a loser. He's shit. He's not good at what he does. But he did that. He tricked people into thinking that he was the shit. But he never delivers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like enough people will still believe it because they're like, well, I'm here in a theater watching.
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Why would he be at the arena?
Yeah. I think with the arts, that's not going to last long. You
No,
might have
they're
your
not gonna
time.
see you.
You're not going to have longevity. You're not going to be like a respected guy for a while. But it's like you could pop off for a bit, you know?
If you're smart.
If you get enough people to like you, you know, then enough people will go, well, they like him.
We gotta start
good.
Poseidon, we gotta start hypnotizing people.
Yeah, we gotta start Believe me, I've been like, maybe I can Jones affect my way through this comedy.
We gotta fucking start Jones and affecting people.
Yeah.
No, I think it's too hard for arts because people are gonna realize.
No, exactly. You gotta, especially today with so much content. You know what I mean? You gotta. The only way you can stand out is doing what you're doing. You know, not to ride your nuts, but it's like you gotta be yourself. Do you and do it consistently and put a good quality product out consistently.
The hardest part is the consistency, to be honest.
Sure. But you've been doing a great job, man. That's been awesome.
So far, I've been trying fucking different languages and shit.
That's awesome. I feel like your French is a little better than mine, but like whenever I watch your French, I'm like, fuck, man, that's good on you, man. Good on you. Because I'm also like, I have a very similar accent to you. And I'm very self-conscious. That's why I don't speak French.
I was too for the longest time, but then all the French people told me, we do not give a fuck.
They really don't.
But and like, they appreciate it.
I know, they do. They do. That's the thing I still have to get out of my head. Because I was kind of, you know, as a kid, you take things so personally. Yeah. I played my soccer team, everybody was French. I was the only Anglo. Maybe there's one other Anglo. The kid I went to Florida with. And they would rip on me a little bit, but it's like they're kids being kids. They weren't being dicks. They were just...
That's what kids do.
Yeah,
That's what I do.
And like I would laugh, but inside I was a sensitive kid, and I was like, I suck. I'm just gonna not speak French. You know what I mean?
That's that I could see happening.
Stuck with me for so long, and it's like I only realized as an adult, like, oh, you just had a few friends rip on you. Like that's what's, because like in my working world, I had to speak French, selling perfume. I'm pitching in French. Like
Mike Patterson does French comedy. Yeah. I don't think he speaks French during the show.
He speaks one word of French.
Yeah, you can do it.
To him, it's crazy.
Yeah, they appreciate the effort.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, I've thought about it, but like, it's not. It's something that I think I will eventually pursue.
You should.
It's not. You know, fuck, who knows what's going on with comedy?
We'll
now,
talk.
But
you should.
We'll see. I'd like to really like. I feel like things were happening in English before
you could do both.
Happened. No, for sure. But I'd like to at least be like, okay, I'm a headliner in English.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can. Let me get that. Let me get like. I got I think I have 45 minutes now, but like I want to have like, okay, I got 45 that
I'm very comfortable with,
very happy with, and especially now, like, you know, I'm looking at my best 20, and I'm like, yes, a lot of this works. Maybe there's some stuff in there, but God, I don't want to tell these jokes anymore. I don't. I think what's gonna happen is, like we said, it's that organic thing. It's gonna have to evolve.
Yeah,
because I can't practically throw away all that material.
But they're gonna morph.
It's going to morph. I'll have to make it updated or whatever. Hopefully I'm a smarter person now. I don't know. Hopefully the material
I think so, but it's always debatable with us.
Yeah, I don't know. I could be getting dumber. I'm scared of that too.
Sometimes I think I am getting dumber.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, fuck.
Like sometimes I'll have somebody like I had a PhD on Guillaume Dulude a couple of episodes ago, and sounds like, fuck, man, I'm an idiot.
It's when you talk to a real smart person, you're like, oh God, how do I put pants on in the morning?
This guy's out here analyzing stuff, communication between people. He lived with tribes in Africa. And then I'm here, I'm like, this dick joke. This will go so well with this, you know? Like it's just, fuck, I'm a dummy.
Yeah, how do I phrase this cock joke?
Yeah, I can't go racist back to back. I gotta fit, and like that's my pinnacle of ideas.
Gotta space your racism. Yeah.
And this guy's out there. He's like, these cannibals are trying to eat me. He's got real problems.
Yeah, no, it'll happen sometimes. Most of my friends I try to keep my friends as dumb as I am, but like John's a guy, Montreal comic, John Barella.
He's a smart guy, though.
He's smart. Sometimes I talk to him, I'm like, I'm too stupid to have this conversation.
I mostly talk to him, so I feel smart.
That's great. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's misleading. It's the
You gotta
wrong.
pick yourself up sometimes. I need some dumber friends. I think.
Yeah, yeah. He's here just for my confidence. Anyways, links are in the description to find you. What do you do? What do you want them? What are you doing next? Are you doing any Instagram videos? Are you fucking doing something?
I should. I
should.
I keep not doing it. I've been very reclusive during this whole pandemic. Every day I'm like, I should put something out more online, and then I just don't. I filmed some stuff and then I've watched it and I'm like, ugh.
But you're never gonna be.
I know.
Perfection
I know. I
is
gotta kind of get over that. It's almost like stand up where you have to just do the
reps.
the reps, and you have to like, try the joke won't work till it eventually does.
Yeah.
And it's like no, I don't have links are in description, but I got no content right now. But
I would recommend you guys do follow him, because as soon as things open up, this motherfucker will pop off. He's going to start doing shows again. He's going to be out there. So it's in your best interest to follow him so that there's no surprises. You don't miss out on important shows.
I got one video I filmed last year that I'm proud of.
Did it come out yet?
I put it up last year. It's on Instagram, YouTube.
They're going to see it. Is it the bike
video.
one?
No, the one where I was,
I remember the bike one.
No, I put that up just as like a one-off. It's nowhere to be found. It's probably on Facebook. No, it's the beard one where I'm shaving my beard.
Oh, I've seen that video. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's because it was during pandemic times, right? Where you're like, what am I going to do?
Pandemic just started and I was like, I'm going to do video content. And then I chose a thing way too ambitious because it required so much editing. And that was the only video I've ever edited. I had to learn how to use the software. That 3-minute video took me, I'm embarrassed to say, oh my God, maybe 3 days where I was working all day.
That's fine.
Just to put out a 3-minute clip. And it's not like the quality is not amazing either, but just to learn, because I was learning how do I cut this and put this here.
How fun was it?
Sounds. It was fun. It was fun. But then summer came and I was like, on the health kick, and I was like, I don't need to do anything, but follow me in case I ever make online content.
Yeah, links are in the description. Follow Wassim, and remember, everybody, go fuck yourselves.
Yep.
Welcome everybody to the thoughts in my head. All my confessions are the latest trend. I'll post them on my feed.